everyday life is it collapsing? I think all the signals are there. People's lives are becoming, overstretched. No disposable income. And for some people it's even unbearable, where they're unaliving themselves. It's so sad. And talk about unaliving, thought to those two little girls that were shot and those that were injured. Is that a school shooting? What's wrong with people, eh? Crikey. Every time I look in the news, it seems to be another horrendous act. What can you say? There's nothing you can say, is there? You know, obviously thoughts to the parents and that as well, and family, and people who have got toothpaste on my mouth, who live locally, you know, as well. They must be really feeling it. Oh, it's horrendous, but you know, it's a sign of the times, I suppose, in the United States of America. And Trump was supposed to make the place safer, was he? Yeah, right. What a bloody idiot that man is. But anyway, I've got my notes. I have. We're doing a bit of research on this because it's quite. I actually find it quite sad that people are having to refinance their homes and increase their credit card debt just to live, just to pay the bills. And even then it's not enough, because you've got to pay that bill. It all escalates into one great big massive mess. People can't survive like this. When is it going to end? You know? And although I would like to make a nice positive video, there's the positive bits. Yeah, my dogs. Oh yeah, and the missus. My dear wife. Yeah, oh, the trees are losing the leaves already. But you see, there ain't much positivity out there at the moment, is there? Unless you stick your head in the sand and just don't read the papers or look at the news, look at your social media feeds and just ignore what's going on. But you can't, because you're going to have to stand up to it, what's going on. Now somebody, Chrome Dome, in the comments was saying that, you know, you can't just run away from this. And I tend to agree, but I understand why some people, and I don't feel animosity to those who do decide to leave the United States because they just can't afford to live, or for whatever reason it might be. It's frightening, you know? No, we're not all made the same, are we? Some people feel they can't cope, they can't go, they just can't carry on like this. But you see, this is not just in the United States. No, but because of the United States, we are all struggling to make ends meet. So our disposable incomes are down, so we're not spending so much. When I say we are in France. So this is France, okay? We're in France, and there's cows in the old field again. But you know, we've noticed the pinch recently, you know, and everything's become more expensive. The electric is more expensive, but nowhere near to the levels that you're having to suffer. Now, when I was looking at the research on this, I was seeing some people spending as much as, just on an average home in some states, which is $1,100 a month. And even your brother, who now lives in the United States, they were saying that the prices have gone up considerably. Yeah. So
we now looked at water, didn't we?
Oh, we just looked at average water prices. Now, it's hard for us to comment on that one because we're on well water, we are, because we sort of live off grid-ish. The thing is, you see, in the UK, did you say the water price?
£50 a month.
£50 a month. So what's that in dollars?
$600 a year.
So what's that? I don't know what the exchange rate would be at the moment. So it's going to be about $80, I suppose, a month. No?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know what the exchange rate is.
well, do it on the same as France, which is like 116.
You think so?
120.
Oh, okay. Anyway,
yeah, go on.
Doesn't matter anyway. To be fair, the difference is extreme.
We're about €43 here.
€43. So yeah, on average house, €43 a month for water. Now electricity, I would say if we didn't have the solar panels, Caroline, we'd probably be spending maybe 200 a month, 50 a week, if you did it for the solar.
Yeah, but we have got a large house, or largest.
Oh, postman. Oh, Pandora's all the way up there, look. She's all the way up there, she is. She's alright, she'll be okay.
Pandora!
I didn't realise she's all the way back there. Bonjour! Here's the post girl, or lady. That's a good girl. She didn't jump up. Anyway, yeah. So the cost of electricity in some states is considerable. The cost of energy is considerable. You know, all this under $2 for for petrol is just a lie. It's just a blatant lie by the Orange von Schitzenpanzen. You know, it's not true. Now, obviously, if your means to spend has been squeezed, it's going to cause you a massive issue, and also the economy. Oh dear, another car now. This is like Piccadilly Circus, this is. So many vehicles today. I do apologise, but I don't want my dog to get run over. No, I don't. So anyway, where was I? Now let's get back on track. I'm kind of getting a bit off point here, aren't I? So my ability, or our ability to spend, is definitely down, and that means we spend less money, so we buy less stuff, and some of the stuff might have originated in the United States. Let's say, I don't know, JD whiskey, although I don't drink it. It's disgusting. I don't like it. It tastes like shit. Seriously. Yeah, Maker's Mark maybe. Yeah, that's a good one. But JD, I mean, it's horrible. Horrible. Just the smell of it. Ugh. Anyway, I got off track there. But the thing is, you see, when I look in the stores here, the one whiskey that is always filled to the brim is JD. They're still selling it here. It hasn't been boycotted yet. But they don't seem to be selling it. Because there's boycott. You know, like the Canadian boycott of goods, for obvious reasons. We know why they're doing that, and I don't blame them. Elbows up at all. You know, that's had a knock-on effect, but also further abroad as well. We all buy it. I'll buy it anyway because I don't like it. But it just isn't selling. It just isn't. So all these things have a knock-on effect. You know, the companies are struggling. JD has just announced a whole load of job losses, along with John Deere as well, which about nearly 1,000 jobs have been lost at John Deere this year because of the Mango Mussolini in the White House. Yeah. Well, they were being made in Mexico as well because of the cost of labour and various other reasons and logistics. You know, it made perfect sense before, but it doesn't now. You know, everything is just up in the air. Orders are down. So, you know, all these people that are working in these places, all of a sudden they've got no money. All of a sudden less money's being spent in the economy. It has a knock-on effect. But it doesn't really make a lot of difference when you've got a government that's getting its bulldozers, and there's one over there, right? Unless you push all the money to the White House. Yeah, to pay for his ballroom and all that sort of shit. And ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement Officers, which has now got a budget of 165 billion as of the big beautiful bill. All part of this Project 2025. Well, I'd be a little bit more concerned at the moment, you know, for phase 2 of this, which it looks like is what they call Project Esther, which is on the Heritage Foundation website, which is basically control of women, really. You ought to read it. I'll tell you, it's horrendous. You know, to the point of actually fitting like trackers on women to their menstrual cycles and shit like that. I don't know how they do it, but you know, it's seriously. I mean, there's words to that effect about monitoring. It says, it doesn't say trackers. It says monitoring. Monitoring women's menstrual cycles.
Oh,
so if let's just finish, they go somewhere else and they come back and they're not pregnant anymore. you know, you will actually, potentially, not just get a sentence, no, you'll be unalived.
Well, you could lie if it's an app. You can just lie.
No, it's not simple as that, Caroline. Oh. You know, they just, no, they say, where is this child now? If you had, I don't know, if you miscarried, they might ask the question, okay, where's the evidence of that? But otherwise, you know, you're potentially going to be unalived yourself. Just read it. I mean, it's shocking. Shocking. It's on the Heritage Foundation website where the Project 2025. Why am I so out of breath?
Because you haven't been very well.
I haven't been very well, no. I had a blockage.
Constipation.
Oh my Gideon, that was bad. I've never had that before. But anyway, I've digressed again. So, all this stuff, right, whether you look at the graphs and stuff, like all this stuff is pointing, so all roads lead, not just to the White House, but to depression. And very likely a stagflation when you look at the lack of growth in the job market. Has also been squeezed as well. People effectively going to have their wages squeezed by AI. But automation, what have you. We saw what happened with jobs with automation before, but you still required people. But now with AI, the AI is doing the jobs of ordinary people, like programming and shit like that. Okay, it's not perfect, but it will be. It will be. It's frightening what's happening and how it's basically everything has been taken over by AI and scrupulous government. Now, here in the European Union, they are doing what they can to try and protect people's jobs. But, you know, as far as big tech is concerned, they don't want that. And nor does the US government. They don't want that either. Everything is going to get squeezed, which means you're going to have less money, you know, which calls out maybe as a potential reason to have a universal basic income. Otherwise, people aren't going to be able to buy anything or spend any money or even pay their bills. All of a sudden, they've gone dark. So, yes, it's all this stuff.
Did you want to turn that?
Yeah, okay. All this stuff kind of leads to one place, and that is a whole load of people that ain't got no money, which means a whole load of people not spending, which means an economy that's not functioning. And that knocks on abroad, because if the United States stops spending, it'll mean that, if the United States stops spending, they'll buy less from abroad, we'll have less money, then we'll affect the economy as well, because we are linked. We're linked. We're not just a one economy, are we? We are a group of economies, mainly through globalisation and what have you, but we are a group of economies that were intrinsically linked. And there's this feckin' buffoon in the White House that's broken it. It was a well-oiled machine. And now there's this anomaly. And that is the White House, and that is Mr. Cankle himself. Yeah, what's going on with his nose as well? It's like it's been eaten alive. Probably by all the orange shit he's put all over it. Maybe. He looked all lumpy yesterday. Anyway.
I'm sure if he took all his makeup off, he wouldn't look very good.
Well, let's be fair, he is actually pretty old, but he's so vain, he doesn't want to be seen that way. He's just horrendous. So anyway, this video's going to be too long. I've got so much stuff to talk about here. It's not just the rents or mortgages, the utilities. Obviously, they're very expensive. People are obviously using debt to pay them. People are getting so flipping depressed because of this situation. And have you looked at the suicide rates? I mean, people are unaliving themselves, and it's so sad. You know? And I know I said this months ago that you needed to prepare, you need to stand up against this months ago. I actually think it's got to a point now where it's too late. You still got to do it. You'll still do everything you can, but you know, I've got my doubts that you're going to have a big enough effect unless you're willing to actually go the whole hog, if you know what I mean.
There's a lot of people emigrating over here. I've noticed on the expats in France site.
Yep.
Nearly all Americans are questions now.
Yeah, well, you got to remember that all Americans are what?
All the questions, like that's a site where you ask questions about the
Oh,
area.
people emigrating, you mean?
Or, yeah, they ask questions about, I don't know, the legal side of it, emigrate and all sorts of things.
Yeah,
and,
yeah. Not expats. They're not expats, are
well,
they?
that's what the site says.
I know, but they're not expats. They're just migrants.
Yeah.
Just like us.
Yeah.
Expats is a term used for people who think they're better than everybody else.
Yeah. But I'd say 90% of the questions are Americans.
Well, they are. Yeah. I saw you showed me, and it's just yeah. What she's basically saying is that these groups on Facebook. I don't do Facebook, you see, because it's a scam. You know, when something's free, it's not free. You are the product. Now, anyway, there's lots of people in there. It used to be mainly Brits and stuff like that. Now, it's nearly all Americans looking for advice on what they need to do to move to the EU or to France. You know, it's there's an uptick in it because people want to leave. And like I said earlier, I don't blame people for wanting to do it. We're not all made the same. Not everyone can, you know, fight. I think it won't be long before there'll be an actual fight, you know, not just these musical festivals, you know. So don't what you say?
Or be able to afford to live in the United States.
Well, but it ain't that easy to move abroad either,
well, no,
and it can be quite costly to make the move.
You need a certain amount of income for the first year, don't you?
You do need a certain. Well, not for the 12-month visa. You do for the carte de jour. You can get a 12-month visa with not too much difficulty.
All right.
But you can't work.
No, so you've got to be able to support yourself for a year.
Exactly.
And support yourself with health for a
Yeah.
year. And then after that you can then go to the
Well,
carte de jour.
on the 10th month you can apply for carte de jour.
Yeah.
And you can apply for a 5-month carte de jour.
5 year?
5-year month. Yeah, thanks for that, Dale. That would have been a 5-year. What's the point of that? A 5-year carte de jour. After that, you better get a 10-year. But you also need a B1 in your French now. That's all changed now, you see. Didn't you be quite stringent?
I think it's about an A-level standard French.
Sort of A-level standard, yeah.
But I don't know what it is in America. I don't know equivalent to college, the end of college.
Yeah, it was A-level anyway. It's not advanced, but it's you need to be, when you have your interview and what have you, to get your or prove. Is it an online course done for carte de jour?
I don't know.
I think it is, you know.
Is that art?
For carte de jour, it's an online course. It's only citizenship. You've got to have an interview.
Yeah.
And you've got to know a bit about the history of France and stuff like that, and and also a bit about poetry and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
About your politics and
we
stuff.
know someone who did it, didn't we?
Yeah. Our friend done it. So yeah. So yeah, Robert.
Yeah.
Bob.
But my
Bob.
daughter-in-law's now applying, but she doesn't have to do all that because she's been over here since she was about 10.
Oh yes. Oh no, it's easy for her.
Yeah.
And also her French is very good because she teaches it. Teaches English
Probably
and French.
English.
Yeah. So anyway, everyone's ability has been squeezed. So less widgets are going to be sold. So that means there's going to be less profits. Let's say, for instance, somebody went out for the night and they spent money on 8 drinks, for instance. Well, it ain't going to be 8 drinks now. They might spend money on 6 drinks, for instance. 2 less drinks every time they go out. And if you get that across a population, all of a sudden the economy's hit. You know, because those drinks reflect jobs and logistics. You've only just got to look at the truckers. You know, if you watch a YouTube channel, The Enemy from Within, Josh, he's been reflecting on the fact that the spot rates ain't that great, and nobody's got, and a lot of people are just waiting about, and a lot of cancellations in the United States for lorry drivers. There's more lorry drivers than there is actual jobs for them now. So that's obviously a massive issue, and that's a sign that the economy is not doing very well. If you're not moving stuff, you know, people ain't buying stuff, are they? It's plain and simple. So, like I say, everything is linked. We all roads sort of, in my mind, are sort of like, we better get our dogs because there's a big lorry coming. Hey, boy. It's the bin man. You got your bin out?
Yeah.
You got the bin man's coming. See, services that all has to be paid for. You know, well, even the bin man's got to be paid for.
Well, yeah. Oh, start off him.
She's trying to mount with.
Separately here.
Trying to mount Sebastian. Oh, look at the little calves over there. You know.
Oh, they took the mummies away.
You should have knocked down the corner there.
No, I noticed that they took the mummies in.
Oh, they do that often. They keep them together for a while and then they take them away, separate them. You know, obviously it's food, isn't it? I think I will be a vegetarian, I think. I don't know, all veg diet maybe. At least do something. So, organisations. So wages, we have seen a bit of a squeeze on wage. There's no wage growth basically. There's there are the jobs out there, but like for instance, especially in the farming, you know, picking the food and stuff like that. But no one's going to do those jobs.
There.
What?
Oh, do you want them? There.
It'll be gone in 2 seconds, Dan. Don't worry. She's worrying about the binman and the dog. Might put the dog in the bin, you see. You won't do that. So everything, like I say, is going down. It's been squeezed. People are using their debt to pay debt, which is a stupid idea. Because bills, don't forget, your electricity bills, your water bills, they are all debts. You know, as soon as you start accruing the usage of your water, etc., well, then you're building up a debt. That is just plain simple. It's just debt. It's not just stuff that you buy. So, now some people say, is the system rigged? It feels like it's rigged. I actually don't think it is. I don't think they're bright enough to rig the whole economic system. I think there are several greedy people, and obviously got the richest 1%, which is clearly greedy, and they are literally just creaming it. Now, the problem for them, though, they're gonna, from what I can see, they're gonna knuckle, they're gonna huddle down, right? And they're already sitting on their money. They're already putting their money into what they would consider safe investments, like moving it into gold and stuff like that. Always has a value of some description, whereas a business can go flat on its face, be worth nothing at all. So they've got the ability to protect themselves. Most people don't have that. Most people don't have that ability to protect themselves. So I don't think the system's necessarily rigged, but there might be rigged elements of the system, and together they're creating a huge amount of problems. But the problem with the thing with these people, what they don't seem to realise is who made them rich. And I'm not talking about the moral as a moral question. I'm talking about if they're into protecting themselves, why aren't they protecting the people who made them rich? Now, when back in the 1930s, when the New Deal and stuff like that, where the rich people understood that fact that it was the little people that made them rich. So if you don't look after the little people, you're not looking after yourself. It's like looking after your foundations, you know? If you get your foundations right, the rest will be right. Simple as that. But this lot are just too greedy. They just see dollar signs. That's all they see. And needless to say, these people are just literally screwing themselves over. They'll get to a point where they'll obviously have less capital, all right? Or they'll just put it somewhere where it's not growing, or it's just safe. But, you know, we don't obviously give a shit about that. We just give a shit really about those who cannot pay their bills. But these people are the problem. They are literally, you know what I said about all the bulldozers pushing all the money and the wealth to the White House? They're also taking a bit of a detour sometimes and pushing it towards the billionaires. The billionaires are paying very little taxes for the amount of money they are accruing. In fact, they have negotiated tax rates which ain't that good for you or I. You know, in some cases they're paying no tax at all, just for because they provide jobs, for instance. But what happens when all those jobs are gone? Are they still going to have a reduced tax rate when everything is automised? Or are they going to have to be paying the taxes to pay for a UBI? Because that's where we're heading. Universal basic income, where nobody really goes to work. Or if you can go to work, you still get your UBI, your universal basic income. But it has to be a universal basic income that you can survive on. So it's a considerable amount of money when the cost of everything is going through the roof. Now, I can see that there's going to have to be, well, I see it, okay, I might be wrong. I can see that there's going to have to be a complete economic crash. And then hopefully we can then build from the ashes, but you've got to have the right people in control, the right people in charge. And to do that, you need a revolution. France did it, you need to do it. The people need to rise up and use whatever means that you have in front of you, or you can purchase that means if you've got the money to do so, and stand up against these people, because if they're not, they are going to run you into the ground. Remember, ICE is not, or the people who work for ICE, the immigration customs officers, they're not happy. They don't actually, and some of them do obviously, but many of them don't enjoy these jobs. They're going to end up leaving, especially when they see that their families end up being victimised as well. And that's what you've got to do. As mean as it sounds, you have to hit them where it hurts, and you hit them in their homes. And I don't mean physically, you just make sure that everybody knows who they are, because at the end of the day, they're going around with masks on. They're cowards. They're cowards. Who are they protecting, themselves or their families? Either way, somebody needs to actually take the gauntlet and actually do something. You know? So wages are going down, yes, most definitely. And we all know that these people have no concern for you whatsoever. Where's mine? Oh my God, have I got another page of notes? I'm not going to do all that, am I? I might have already touched on that here. Debt, yes, definitely. Yeah, oh yeah, some figures here for you. Apparently people are spending around 55% of household bills are being paid for by debt, and 15% are not being paid at all. So, you know, so food is rapidly going up in price. We're seeing that as well, aren't we? All costs, and you know, but this, if you can't feed your family, what are you going to do? You know, crime, where there's crime, I've said this a million times before, where there's crime, where there's poverty, sorry, I'll get it right in a minute, where there's poverty, there's crime. You know, fair leads to hate and all that. I don't see how we can deny it. You know, we don't live the same. Now, I can remember growing up as a kid, my mum was there for us. She was our parent. I'm not saying it should be a male goes to work and the female stays at home, but we need a balance. We need a balance. We have no balance. People have to do 3 jobs just to pay the bills, and even then they're not managing. That's not a life. That's not healthy for your children. So you need to stand up. Stand up and be counted. You know, if not for you, for your children. It's incredibly important, and something that we all have to do. Now, I've got a little YouTube channel abroad, all right? I'm in France. I'm a British citizen living in France. The more voices that we put out there, the more chance there is of making a difference. So if you've got a platform of any kind whatsoever, I think it's your moral responsibility to stand up and be noticed. You know, like some people have done regarding some celebrities, for instance. You know, some haven't, which I'm very disappointed with, you know, such as Keanu Reeves. You know, he's got such a following. Why isn't he speaking out? You know, people like that. Something has to be done. Mike Myers did it, didn't he? You know, he stood out, you know. He's stood up. We all need to do it. If you've got a following, you need to make your opinions, not just your opinions, your feelings about what's going on noticed. Whatever it means, whatever you got, whatever tools you got in your belt, you need to use them. Seriously. You know? When we've got people who are literally so depressed at the moment, they are unaliving themselves. The suicide rates are up, like I said, you know. And families and children well, for some, they've been shot in the schools, like those poor little girls and that, you know. Or was it 2 girls or just a girl and a boy? I don't know. Anyway, it's sad. All this is a direct consequence of governments that are being controlled by money. And not money for the good of the people, money for the good of those in government. You know? You've got all these bodies lobbying, like the gun lobbies and stuff like that. You know, all these people are lobbying the government because they donate to the government. They've got too much control. And that needs to be wiped away. Have a clean slate. Anyway, that's my feelings on it. I know it's another long video, but I think it's important that we all stand up to what's going on. Everybody, you know. Anyway, what do you think? Anyway, please leave it in the comments down below. Do you think I'm on the money or not? You know, do you think it's all conspiracy theories? Is it hyperbole? It's not looking like it, is it? You could have argued that 3 months ago when I was saying all this stuff before, you know, and I was criticised for it, you know. But now, I've had people in the comments agreeing and, you know, and saying, hang on, yeah, we're saying it now. In fact, I had somebody in the comments yesterday who literally said 3 months ago they were mocking these people like me who are saying this stuff. And I'm not saying to the degree they are now. This is going to get worse, you know, don't you? The situation's going to get worse. The United States is going to become billionaire, mates. Really is. Anyway, leave it in the comments down below. I do actually read the comments. One of my videos got pretty hard to do, to be fair, because there was 1,200 comments. So, but I do appreciate everybody's feedback. If you want to support the channel so we can keep the videos coming, there's the what's it called again? Oh my giddy aunt, I've got fibromyalgia, I get brain fog, I do. It's a right nuisance. But you know, there's the super thanks and stuff like that, yeah? And Patreon and Buyers Coffees, links are all down below that they are, but it is frightening. It's frightening. And I feel for you guys in the United States. I feel for everybody who's been suffering from this tyrannical government, this regime in the White House. Doodaloo.